Hello folks, Fuzz here, welcome back to Final Fantasy IX, and today we're going to be continuing on through Treno, which is where we saved at the end of the last episode. And we saved outside the weapon shop, and we'd set up our party pretty much how we want them, in terms of getting Quina ready to face the monster here, which is Chocographs. And the way we're going to take this guy out is very simply hit him with the needle fork that we have equipped. So I recommend just pausing using the battle assist toggle on and off to refill your ATB to full, and do this after each turn, because then you'll get more chances of freezing this guy before he kills you. And if you do get killed as Quina, then just reload your save game and try again, and just do that as often as necessary until you actually manage to get this guy petrified. So that was a fortunate miss there, and we was able to petrify him on the very next attempt. So it took about 3 attempts there, but I had to reset about 4 times to get that done properly. So once you've gone ahead and defeated that battle and collected your reward, you're next going to go and unequip Quina of her gear, and just make sure that you throw the normal fork on as the weapon that Quina's going to be using, because we're going to sell the needle fork in a moment's time. And something to help you as well is just go to your item menu and do auto arrange. So then you'll hopefully have everything in the same order as myself when I tell you what to sell. So I've just popped in and out there to create an autosave. Should I spend too much time selling here, then I can just reload that autosave without having to go through the battle again. Okay, so all we're going to sell, and I say all, there's actually quite a lot of stuff this time, and I'm going to try and remember to make a list of this and post it in the video description, but you can also find it on Thomas's walkthrough. I should mention that we're covering section D3-05 if you are following along with that today. Anyhow, this is what you need to sell. 2 remedies, 2 eye drops, 2 echo screen, 1 soft, 3 magic tags, 2 anointments, 7 phoenix pinions, 4 tents, an exploder, an ice brand, a Mortina racket, a healing rod, a golem's flute, an ice staff, a needle fork, a leather wrist, a mithril armlet, 2 chimera armlets, a feather hat, a headgear, 1 mage's hat, 2 mage's hat, 1 ritual hat, 1 bronze helm, the 99 cotton robes we synthesised earlier on in the last episode, a magician robe, though I never had that because I messed up on the auctions, a mithril armour, 99 desert boots, again from synthesis, germinus boots, a maiden's ring, 1 gold choker, 1 kakusha, and finally an angel's earring. So that's everything we need to sell. I'm just going to go through and get that done here. And once you're happy with the speed of selling, and I wasn't really with mine, but I'm ahead of schedule, so it'll do. We're just going to head out and save our game so that we don't have to repeat everything we've just done at the start of this episode. Okay, so what we're going to do now is collect our first batch of Promist Rings. Now, Promist Rings are an interesting item because they will only appear in the auction house if you have none in your inventory. So when you win one, you have to equip it onto a character. And the reason we're trying to get as many as we can is because we're going for a perfect save file. So we need as many of each item as we can get eventually. So the way we're going to do this is, at the moment we have 0 Promist Rings. We're going to win one at the auction house, equip it onto a character, and then another one can show up, until eventually all of our characters have the Promist Ring equipped, and then we can win one more for a 9th Promist Ring to be stored in our inventory. It is possible to get a 10th later on, and I'll explain that when we get to it, but for now 9 is what we're going for. Although in this first section we're only going for 4. So not 4, 5 even. So that will be 1 on each of our current party members, and then 1 to go in our inventory. And then we'll come back and do the other 4 after we've taken a chocobo break. So there's also 2 other items that while you're here at the auction house you should try and win. That is the dark matter, and that's what's going to appear in this auction, so I'm going to be taking that. And then also the thief's gloves. Now the thief's gloves can be a little bit pricey. They can sell up to 40,000 gil, or even a little bit more. But you want to try and get it for about 27 to 28,000 gil. Any more than that and you're probably paying more than you need to. Now the Promist Rings are obviously going to vary in price at what you buy them at, because you're getting so many. but they can vary in price from 12 to 36,000 gil, so you want to try and spend no more than around 24,000 if possible. Okay, so on this auction there's a Promist Ring and a Thief's Gloves, so it'd be nice to get both, but obviously the Promist Ring is the priority. The reason why I bid on the mini Sid there is because if you bid about 2,300 to 2,400 on it, you'll finish the auction quickly and can move on. You won't actually be buying it though. So just to clarify how we're doing this. We're winning a Promist Ring at the auction, we're going back to save at the Moogle, then we're coming back to try and win another one, and then we're going back to save at the Moogle, and each time we're equipping the Promist Ring on one of our active party members so that we clear it out of the inventory, otherwise the next one will not appear. But that's pretty much it. So if we win this Promist Ring, which I do, I'll equip it on a character, go and save, come back, and because it's not in our inventory, the next one will appear. So it's really that simple, it just takes a fair bit of time. And since we can't change party members at the moment, we can only get 5 at this particular visit to the auction house, because that means we've got 4 on our active party members and then 1 in inventory. So I'll just show you a couple of these, I won't show you them all, since it can take a bit of time. So this auction visit can add about 25 minutes, along with the bit we're doing just after this and then coming back to finish off this auction. You want to do it in about 25 minutes. So it can take a bit of time and it can take a bit of gil. But obviously we just sold a lot of stuff, so we've got a nice amount of gil. That said, you don't want to end up with less than 176,000 gil after having purchased all 9 of the Promist Rings, so just bear that in mind as well. So that was a little bit too expensive for me to purchase the Thief's Gloves. I didn't want to do that. So I was happy to let them go. And I'm just going to reset at this point by popping in and out. And I can see that there's actually no Promist Ring in this auction. So I really need to go back to save and then reload the save game in order to get the next one to spawn. But the reason why the Promist Ring wasn't appearing then, and this is what I was trying to tell you, is I hadn't equipped the one out of my inventory after winning it. You must do that, or you won't get any more appearing at the auction house until you do. So if you're seeing Oon mirrors or anything like that... Oh, by the way, those Oon mirrors and stuff, we sold them earlier, if you remember, for some nice profit. You can't do that now, so don't try and purchase them thinking that you can. Anyway, back at the auction house, we get the final Promist Ring there. And that is the final for this part, so number 5. There's still 4 more to get in a few moments' time. So if I just head over to the save point and save, I'll show you exactly what it is that I've got at this point in terms of Promist Rings. What I don't show you is that I also have the Dark Matter item and the Thief's Gloves. So I think I got the Thief's Gloves for 29,000 gil in the end. I took the opportunity to get them since they weren't really being offered at a much lower price than that. So I've got a Promist Ring equipped on every one of our active party members. And if I just go up to item here, there you go. Just down the bottom you can see a Promist Ring here. So we'll come back in a moment to get the last 4. Let's just save. And what we're going to do now is make our way out of Treno. And we're going to be taking a Chocobo detour, as I mentioned a few moments ago. So this is going to involve, first of all, running back to the Blue Narcissus ship. And we're going to sort out our party as well, so that we can maximise our Promist Rings. Now we've got our lovely red Chocobo just waiting for us to take us over the mountains here. And the ship is just parked on the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and board, and then hit the menu button, which will take us actually on the deck of the ship itself. And we want to speak to Sid. And what we're going to do first of all is just swap any of these party members for Aiko. And we're going to give her the Promist Ring that's in our inventory. Okay, so that's going to clear the one out of our inventory. And then we're going to swap all of the 3 party members that we can swap for Steiner, Freya and Amaranth. And what that means now is that we have 3 new party members that do not have a Promist Ring. And there isn't any in our inventory either because we gave it to Ico. So we are now set up for our next 4 Promist Rings to be purchased at the auction house. But before we go back, while we're here, we're going to do some more Chocograph hunting. How lovely. Okay, so we have got the Chocograph hunting next, and I do lose quite a bit of time here, unfortunately, mainly because I just could not be bothered to keep resetting every time I got the wrong Chocograph, and I was happy to add the wrong ones to my inventory for later use. So since we're so far ahead of schedule anyway, I didn't see the problem really in adding a little bit extra to the time of this particular session so that we can get those extra Chocographs anyway. So anyhow, what do we actually need? Well, what you do want to get is the Forbidden Forest Chocograph and the Green Plains Chocograph and 2 Chocograph pieces. Now you can technically get all of that within 2 games of hot and cold. You can get 1 Chocograph and 1 Chocograph piece in each game, and that would, you know, save you the most amount of time if you want to keep resetting until you get that. But that's probably not really that feasible, not without a heck of a lot of RNG and a heck of a lot of patience. So that's why I've just probably done about 15 games, to be honest, and as I say, that did add quite a bit to my time, but I'm not too concerned about that. Something else though that you'll probably want to get are the dead peppers. We're going to need at least 3 later on, so you want to make sure you do leave here with at least 3 dead peppers, but obviously the more the merrier of those, since we are going to need quite a few of them when we want to start doing all our farming and whatnot with Choco later. But 3 is the bare minimum of dead peppers. I think I end up with about 9 by the end of this hunting hot and cold session, whatever you want to call it. So there's the Chocographs we need to get. Go and check out Thomas's walkthrough if you're in any way confused about what it is you need. But make sure once you find a Chocograph, you do go out, save, then check what Chocograph it is, and then decide whether you want to keep it if it's the wrong one, or just reload your save game and try again. Obviously, if it's the right one, you do want to keep it. So I think that was the last Chocograph that I needed. I'm just going to pop outside here and make that save, and then we'll see which ones we've got. Okay, so we'll open up the Chocograph menu, and yes, as you can see, I have got a few extras, but the 2 that we need are Forbidden Forest and Green Plains, and those 2 Chocograph pieces, don't forget those as well. So once you're happy that you're sorted with your Chocograph farming, we're going to head back to Treno and collect the last 4 of those Promist Rings. We've already got 5, so there's 4 more we can get from the auctions, which will be 1 for each character, our 8 characters that we have, and then 1 for the inventory. And we've already set our party up, of course, a few moments ago before we did the Chocograph stuff, to be able to get those next set of Promist Rings. So we're just going to head up these steps on the right hand side, just make our way back to the auction house basically. I mean, hopefully you know the way there now, we've just come from there, haven't we, so. And it's going to be pretty much the same routine. Make sure there's no Promist Ring in your inventory when you go into the auction house, so that it will appear as the 3rd item that you can purchase there. And if you win a Promist Ring, then come out, equip it, and go back in and try and get another. Now just remember, you need to be leaving with at least 176,000 gil. That's what you need to be leaving Treno with. So just be a little bit cautious with how much you're bidding on these Promist Rings. Remember, the average price is 24,000 gil, but don't be scared to go a little bit under that, so that you can try and save some money for later. I've got 242,000 gil at the moment, and I can tell you, because I'm recording this commentary afterwards, that I do literally just have it on the line by the time we finish. I think I'm on like 176,000 and something gil. I did actually need a break at this point of the recording, so I did go ahead and take one, which means I'm going to finish this session off here for now. But D3-05, there's about 10-15 minutes left of it. We'll complete that in the next episode. So thanks for stopping by today. But just to show you, I now have 9 Promist Rings. That's 8 that are equipped on our characters and 1 in our inventory. So we can actually move on out to Treno now and do a lot of treasure hunting, which, as I say, we'll be doing next time. So thanks for stopping by today, folks, and I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.